Good Shabbos, everyone. You may be seated. It's good to see everyone here. And whether you're here in person or online, I want to wish you a good Shabbos again and a Happy New Year. A man named Ahmad Masad came to the United States in January of 2012. He was from Amman, Jordan, and 24 years old. When he came to America, he was in debt. He had absolutely no assets. He settled in New York, worked at a startup, then moved west to Silicon Valley. 5 years ago, he became a co-founder and CEO of Replit, a company that he owns and operates that offers tools to learn programming. It employs 40 people full-time and 10 contractors. A few weeks ago, at the 10th anniversary of his arrival in the United States, he posted his reflections on what it means to be a citizen in this country and what it means to come to the United States with absolutely nothing and to be able to make it in this great country. He writes, "I landed in the United States 10 years ago with nothing but credit card debt. Today, I'm a CEO. I genuinely believe that it wouldn't have been possible anywhere else in the entire world." He then went on to list 10 elements, 10 things that he loves about the United States. I want to share parts of this list with you, and I encourage you after Shabbat to find his complete list online. Number one, he writes, work ethic. First thing I noticed about the United States was that everyone, regardless of occupation, took pride in doing a bang-up job, even when no one looked. I asked people, why do you pour everything into a job even when it is seemingly thankless? It was like asking fish, what is water? Number two, lack of corruption. He writes, in the 10 years in the United States, I've never been asked for a bribe, and that's surprising. When you know that you predictably get to keep a sizable portion of the value you create and that no one will arbitrarily stop you, it makes it easier to be ambitious. Number three, a win-win mindset. People don't try to shaft you on deals. They play the long game and align incentives in such a way that everyone wins. And this is especially apparent in Silicon Valley, where you can't underestimate anyone because one day you might be working for them. Number four, rewarding talent. From sports to engineering, America is obsessed with properly rewarding talent. If you're good, you'll get recognized. The market for talent is dynamic, and if you don't feel valued today, you can find a better place tomorrow. Number five, open to weirdos. Because you never know when the next tech, sports, or arts innovation will come from, America had to be open to weirdness. Weirdos thrive without being crushed. We employ people with the most interesting backgrounds, dropouts to artists, as long as they have talent and they work hard. Number six, forgiveness. Weird and innovative people have to put themselves out there, and as part of that, they're going to make mistakes in public. The culture here values authenticity, and if you're authentic and open about your failures, you'll get a second and a third chance. Number seven, basic infrastructure. Americans take care of their public spaces. Parks are clean, subways and buses run on time, and utilities and services work. And because life can be livable, and livable for a time even when you're without income, it was possible for me to quit certain jobs and bootstrap my business. Number eight, optimism. When you step foot in the United States, there's a palpable sense of optimism. People believe that tomorrow will be better than today. They don't know where progress will come from, but that's why they're open to differences. Number nine, freedom. Clearly a cliche, he writes, but it's totally true. None of the above works if you're not free to explore and tinker, to build companies, and to move about freely. I still find it amazing that if I respect the law and other people, I can do whatever I want without being compelled and without being restricted. And number 10, access to capital. It's a lot harder to innovate and try to change the world without capital. If you have a good idea and a track record, then someone will be willing to bet on you. The respect for entrepreneurship in this country is inspiring, and it makes the whole thing tick. And then after listing these 10 elements that he loves about the United States, he did add a warning. He writes, many of the things that I talked about are under threat, largely from people who don't know how special they have it. America is worth protecting and realizing that progress can be made without destroying the things that made it special. His thread went viral, and he was engulfed in feedback from literally hundreds of thousands of people from across the United States. The reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Tellingly, the majority of the real positive, heartwarming, excited feedback has been from other immigrants from countries all across the world. And they've added to the list of what they love and appreciate about the United States. He also noted that a number of native-born Americans told him, wow, this is an outside perspective that I don't have. Perhaps I need it. In this week's Torah portion, we learn about the last series of plagues. And the 9th plague, the plague of darkness, choshech, is one of the most difficult ones. It's a plague that lasts not 1 day, not 2 days, but 3 days. But you may ask, why didn't the Egyptians do something? We understand that they were powerless to fight against the locust or the boils. But darkness seems to be an easy plague to work against. Light a candle, light a fire, light a torch. Didn't the Egyptians have candles? The rabbis answered this important question by reminding us that it wasn't just a physical darkness that lasted for 3 days and descended upon all the Egyptian homes and throughout the land of Egypt. It was a spiritual darkness. The Egyptians were so pessimistic about their chances. They were in depression about what they had done to the Hebrew slaves. They were upset about what Pharaoh was now doing to them. They felt like victims. They felt like oppressors. It was all intertwined into a spiritual depression that descended upon the Egyptians that felt like darkness, physical darkness that came from within. And so the Egyptians were powerless. They were full of gloom and pessimism, and they felt there was absolutely no hope at all. They felt that the best days of their country were now behind them, and the future would only be more bleak and worse. Does that sound familiar? How often in the last few years have we been told that the United States is evil, that our best days are behind us, that we're not so special and unique, that we're worse than we are better, that America isn't a force for good in this world, but rather a force of evil. And when we're told this again and again and again, often by people who really don't have a clue about what they're talking about, then it's easy to believe it's true. Peggy Noonan writes in the Wall Street Journal, who posted this list, she writes, the past few years, maybe decades, we've become an increasingly self-damning people. As a nation, we harry ourselves into a state of permanent depression over our failures and flaws and what we imagine because we keep being told is innate wickedness of our system, which keeps justice from happening and life from being good. She writes, maybe we got carried away. Maybe we have it wrong. Maybe those who are new here and observe us with fresh eyes see more clearly than we do. And as long as our immigrants are talking like this, maybe we've still got it going on, she writes. What a welcoming thought. Thank you, Amajad Masad. Yes, as we begin a new year, let us ask God to bless all Americans, old and new, no matter who they are, no matter their religion, their skin color, or how they practice their life here in the United States, whether they're here by birth, belief, or both. And as we arrive together in an unknown place called 2022, can we keep our eyes open and fresh? Shabbat Shalom, everyone.